Hey guys, my name is Nate and this is my brother Steven. Together we are Wingman Merch.
Thanks for checking out our video. We put these up about a month after we shoot them. If you'd like to catch any of these videos live, check out our Facebook page. The link is in the description.
We did a free class in the group, Preparing Your Business for 2019. We just showed you how to use information from past sales and be able to pull out keywords, ideas for art, and then how to build additional listings from that. So we kind of always go back to the cat niche, and we showed through different cat shirt sales how we pull additional keywords out of there, and then how we find more landing zones from the initial keywords, and then how to compete using the art that you know have sold, the art that has sold, and then through what your competitors are doing. And then we're just doing that as like a validation step because there's not really any great tools for merch, and there's no real data that's being given through Merch by Amazon. We're using sales to kind of as a vetting process for the shirts. So if we use cat mom, whatever keywords, and we run it through and we have sales on it, we kind of know, okay, cat mom is worth going after and doubling down on. And I guess that was what a lot of the class on Friday was talking about.
Yeah, it was a good class. It's nice to be able to think about next year and look back, really see the growth that we've had, try and figure out what we did to have some of that growth, and then be able to teach a class on that. And hopefully you guys got a lot out of that. Hopefully you guys are looking at that tool that we showcased, or if you just like your CSV files, going through your CSV files, picking out the information that worked, and then, as we said, doubling down on that information. But that class is live inside of the Facebook group, so the crew page. If you guys missed it or want to watch the replay, it is there at any time. You guys can just go and watch that. There's no Gumroad or link or anything. It's just right there in the group live. So we're excited about that. I actually have a question for the community this week. Not that I don't have questions for the community every week, but we had tags in the group. I don't know. When was the last time we used a tag system? Like a month ago? Like it didn't seem that long ago.
It wasn't, yeah. Last month, like 2 weeks ago, because I was tagging Jen's success story with being able to get tiered up to the next level, and I tagged that, and then from there, and that wasn't more than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so the tags have just disappeared from our group. So I'm not quite sure if it's because now we're over 1,000 people, but we've seen groups that are bigger than ours that still have a tag system. So we're not quite sure if it was something I changed. I don't think I changed anything. But if anybody in here is well versed on the Facebook world, and especially having groups inside of Facebook, I'd appreciate you guys just reaching out and letting us know how we can get those tags back. Somebody asked us about like success stories, and we're like, oh yeah, we have a whole tag feature for that. And then we went and looked and it was like, oh, it's just gone. So we've got to figure that back out again. And I messed around with it a little bit today, and I was just like, I have no idea. So hopefully some of people in here know Facebook better than I do. Can help us out with that. If you have any ideas, I'm willing just to try things at this point. So let me know if anybody knows about that. But because we want to be more organized inside of this group, we want to be able to tag the free training stuff for people in here. So when you get into the group, or if you're ever looking back for something, all that information is there.
Yeah, we think we do a pretty good job with the menu. It's a clever way that we were able to hide pictures or use pictures to hide information. So if you want to go up to that pin post, you should normally be able to click on any of that stuff. But having the tags was nice because then we could just say, oh, look at the tags, and then it would have everything in order. Like Theo said, I'm not sure why it disappeared, but I was using that feature quite a bit to like do all the recall post, all the Merch Mondays, all the Wednesday videos, and then all the training and stuff. That we just started to use it to kind of organize everything that we have in this group. We have quite a bit of information now in this Facebook group, and it's even more confusing now without the tags to be able to like locate that stuff and help people when they do reach out and have questions.
Yeah. So hopefully that comes back. We like to try and stay as organized as possible. I don't want to say anything about the website, but there's steps being made towards the website still behind the scenes. That is just a project. We know it could be made much simpler, but because we're really trying to like build a solid foundation and do more than just put our content in one place, we're excited about that.
I hope a lot of people know Facebook better than us. That's not, we don't hang our hat on that at all.
Yeah, Susan's saying that she hopes other people know Facebook better than us, or who would know Facebook better than us. Yeah, we while we're on here quite a bit, I always feel like I'm like, I don't know how to do this. Yeah, I have no idea.
Especially trying to organize all the stuff. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, how do we do these videos better? And then we just found out how to do closed captions on the videos.
Yeah, which you can only do on the like a business page.
Yeah.
So the Facebook page now we can do closed captions on. So all the Merch Mondays will now, well, if it works, should have closed captions on them, which is cool because we do have people watching for all over the world, which is kind of weird to like take in and realize that. But they're like, it's so much easier to understand if we can have closed captions and then we can translate it and do all that. So that's really cool. We're glad that we had somebody ask for that and got that figured out. But unfortunately, we can't do it on the class on Friday, which is what I was really trying to do it for. But all the stuff on the page should have closed captions on it.
Yeah, I guess
cool.
anybody that feels like they're a self-proclaimed Facebook person that knows. I was going to say guru, but that's not. We don't like to use that word. But anybody that feels like they know Facebook, definitely reach out to us because we have a lot of questions. And we've been trying to reach out to people that we feel know Facebook, and they're still like,
it's like Amazon. It's just
Yeah.
always changing.
Yeah.
There's always, the pages are different than the groups and all that. We don't need to get into all that again this week.
the page and the group and the
Yeah.
group and the page.
Hopefully that's all been kind of clarified as we move forward. But yeah, it's another tool that we're trying to figure out how to use best, and we're not afraid to ask our community for help. We know that you guys are usually more knowledgeable on us when it comes to like specific things like that. So that would be awesome. All right. Do we want to talk about the boot camp at all today?
Yeah, it's going well so far.
Day one.
Yeah, we're slowly building up. Tomorrow we're going to really start turning it up. The last day to get in is tomorrow. So if you have any interest in the boot camp, tomorrow is the last day. We should have posts in the Facebook group and on the Facebook page. So if you're interested, definitely check out those posts. We'll put a link in this description or in the comments for the boot camp. But moving into next year, we want to start helping people with the print-on-demand business. I feel like I've been moving away from merch. We still use it as a tactical piece of our business, but it's by far no means like the whole part of our business. And I think the more that I learn doing other things, I want to be able to bring to this community. We've been very merch focused over the last year. I think just because we feel like it's the greatest place to start teaching people. But we don't ultimately want to hang our hats on merch and only be known as merch. There's so much more to the print-on-demand business. And I think especially since Nathaniel is so good at graphics and he's using his skills doing so many other things, we want to be able to bring that information into this community. So that if you go, okay, I don't necessarily like merch because of all these things that we probably don't like them for, you go, okay, I want to build a brand. We can help you with that. Oh, I want to use my art skills in other ways. Nathaniel can help you with that. Oh, I understand merch and I get the customer base. Now what do I do with this information because I can't do what I would like to do with merch? How do I use other platforms, or how do I actually use my Seller Central account to help me? That's kind of what I am doing, and I want to be able to bring that to this community. So we will be opening up and talking about more and moving in the print-on-demand business direction.
Yeah, I think we said that almost from like day one. It was like merch has always just been another thing that we're doing.
Tool that we use in our
Yeah,
business.
and if you're only watching our videos in here, you just be like, oh, those are the merch guys. But when you see us like at a convention or something, you'd be like, oh, those are the guys.
Or in other groups, and they go, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
What is this?
We're in a lot of different places. We like to talk to a lot of different people and do businesses in different ways. Partnerships is what I'm all about still. But merch is just like a fantastic like launching point to, build a business. I think it's because that's how I did it. I was very like structured on merch. It was just like something I messed around with. And now it's like we have, multiple people working for us and this whole thing's like running fairly well. But ourselves expanding into other print on demand, places. And we're really learning that last year and, doing more stuff with Etsy as we have an Etsy course and things like that. So we will be talking about more of that. Our big thing is like, we always like to have, I don't want to say proven to like take away from anyone else, but we always like to have experience doing something before we're just like, hey, let's, teach on this thing that we know nothing about. Or we bring in someone who knows more if they're going to help us teach on those points. So we definitely will be talking about more print on demand things in the future, but we are excited about this boot camp. I think I've said that a million times just today. Even listening to the recording back, I was like, I said I'm excited about this so much. But it's just a really cool, a week full of just let's take action. Let's actually help you get up 50 shirts in 5 days, and actually, build a system or help you try and figure out a system that's going to work for you so you can, be consistent with this thing. We've seen that a lot of people like, oh, I have all of this knowledge. I just need to be more consistent with it, basically. So that's our whole focus for this week. Let's help you be consistent. That doesn't mean just copy and pasting what me and Steven have done as far as like how we set things up. It actually kind of means the opposite of that. Like if
Finding
you
what
like
works
our
best for
system, and if you think it will work for you, then perfect. Like we want you guys to try our system out. But really it's about finding something that's going to work for you. What are your skills? What are your talents? What are you trying to achieve? Let's figure that stuff out, and then let's build around that so you have something you can do, whether it be every day or every other day or however you want to run your business, but just being consistent so you can make that compounding interest inside of merch.
Yeah, and the more that we've done this year and the more people that we help and the more partnerships that we have, I think as much as I love data and I kind of feel like that's my part of this business and Daniel is art and he's art driven, I think with us combined, the biggest thing that we have going for us is like understanding processes and building systems. I think that's kind of what we really bring to the table. So going into next year, I think we're going to be shifting more in that direction. And like what Nathaniel said, we have a system that works for us. We want to help you guys build a system. We didn't see how powerful that was until very recently when we were helping other people in other groups. But I feel like that's kind of where we shine as a team to be able to go, okay, what are the steps of whatever this is that we're trying to figure out? And then how can we process this and then build a system from this? So the print on demand business has a lot of moving parts, but we've been able to like pull different pieces out of it. I think just because we can see it from two separate sides. You can focus on the art and all the things that need to get done with that, and I can focus on the keywords or everything else that needs to get focused on as far as the data side. And then we can come together and figure out how this thing works. Do we do the keywords first? Do we do the landing zones?
I think
part? And then actually figure out how to through line it for most people.
Yeah, I think like both of us have a problem with inefficient things. So like if we see something that's not being like super efficient, that like bothers both of us. We're like, okay, how can we keep reworking this to where it's like the least amount of friction moving through our system, the least amount of time, but like the highest quality of listings and art and things like that we can do.
Yeah, time. I guess that's like the biggest part too. Is the amount of time that we're putting towards everything. I think that's the glaring thing for both of us. Efficiency and then time, if time is spent inefficiently and we see that it's taking a lot of time, we both drill in and try to figure that out.
Yeah, that definitely bothered me starting off, especially working for myself now where I have my own schedule. I actually made a post about that this week that said, like, how many hours do you spend on merch? And that was like, I think a question Stephen asked me directly, like when I maybe even before I quit my job.
Yeah, I was asking you how much time are you spending on art alone?
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, it's taking me like however many hours. And I was like, you're spending all day on one piece of art?
Right.
Like that seems the least efficient. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways I made that system much more efficient. But one of the tools that I actually shared in the group this week, and I'll post it in the comments here in a second, is actually Toggle. It's a free time tracking tool, and I've probably even talked about it in this group before. Come to think about it, but it's just a really easy way to be like, okay, when I'm sitting down, I don't do it as much as I probably should now, to be honest, but definitely when I first started out and I was like, okay, what am I actually spending all this time on? So like when I started doing listings, I would, go over to Toggle, type in I'm doing listings now, start the timer, and then when I was done with listings, I would stop it. And that actually helped me do two things. One, realize how much time I'm spending on each process, so I can look like, 8 hours on one piece of art.
I think a lot of people,
probably
when you ask
so
them about Facebook, and they're like, how much time do you spend on Facebook? And they're like, 20 minutes. And then if you were to actually track that, you probably spend a lot more time. I think that's the thing is you think you're not spending that much time. And then when you go back and you're tracking it, you realize, I did spend a ton of time on this, a lot more than I thought I was spending on it.
Yeah, which is just there. It's like we're not trying to shame anybody, but just making you realize it. Again, I think all humans want to be more efficient. So you'd be like, I spent 8 hours on one piece of artwork. That's not great when I'm trying to put up hundreds of listings. So that's something that's got to get better. And two, like it actually helps you think through the problem. When I was timing myself, I would find myself getting less distracted because I was like, okay, I want to get a good time on this. I want to say, I wasn't doing listings for 6 hours when I was really bouncing around and doing a million things. I was only doing listings for an hour. because I was actually like focused
in
on
a-
it. Yeah, I was like, I knew I was on a clock, even though it's, my system, I could change up the numbers, I could fudge them however I want, but it was just like for my own like, personal knowledge of like, okay, let's sit down, let's figure out how long this is going to take me. I have to be kind of laser focused on my one task, which definitely helps with efficiency when you're trying to do something. Just focusing on that one thing, you'll start to get better at it and faster at it, which is
And it
kind of
helps
the
you,
whole
I think, gauge the amount of time that's going to take you to figure out different problems. I mean, I would like to say we're pretty good at going, we need to spend X amount of time figuring out this problem, but I just spent a week and a half trying to figure out a new way for our VAs to work together. And I thought foolishly that was only going to take a day.
Yeah. So we're not trying to like shame anybody and be like, oh,
No.
everything you do should be done in an hour.
No.
Like there are things like that where it's just like, okay, this is just going to take
A
time.
lot longer than I
Yeah.
thought.
And it might not just be us like sitting down and trying to find the most efficient thing. Like sometimes you have to take a break from it and come back and like think about it. Taking breaks is definitely, a part of business, is you have to walk away from a problem to come back to it. I mean, that's part of life.
Fresh
as well.
eyes, yeah.
So that tool was, a big help for me. It is a free time tracking tool. It's even, you can like download a little app for your computer, and that like just sits on top of whatever you're doing. So it's pretty cool. I would definitely give that a check if you guys, at any rate of however you're doing merch, whether it's a side thing or whether it's your main focus, just tracking your time, being aware of the time that it's taking you to do certain things helps you be more efficient. And like I said, it just helped me be more laser focused on what I was doing.
That's a long question. You got to open that one up.
Yeah, Marsha. Oh, it's even seen more. Hold on, Marsha. We're getting there. Do you want to talk about? I don't even know what the next thing was. Oh, the question. All right, we have 2 questions. Perfect. So if you guys have questions, you can post them now. We're gonna read Marsha's question.
Yeah, we're going to try, instead of, we do want questions live, but we're also going to pull questions either from the Facebook page or the group that we see throughout the week, and then just highlight them. So as we do these Merch Mondays, definitely if you're here live, ask questions. We'll try to answer them live. But then we're going to try to pull questions from out the week and highlight them, and then just have like a talking point on them and try to get more interactive from you guys. So the pop socket thing, I guess I'll let you read off that question, then we'll go into the next question.
Yeah, Marsha's just asking about like basically the system of print on demand. So, when do you say that, okay, I understand merch enough? When is it then time to move on to Etsy and Printful and all these other options are out there? Yeah, she's saying it's more of a statement than a question, but I think it is a good question of like, okay, here's all of these options out there. I'm starting on merch. I feel like I've kind of got a grasp on that. When is it then time to take, all the knowledge and the art and the keywords that I have from one platform and try them on another, or try them on multiple other platforms? How do you build that out? And I mean, I'm sure Stephen has some type of answer for this. But
I got a lot of answers.
Yeah, I would just say like,
but there's more
no
questions that I need from those people to kind of
there's
them.
no cookie cutter
Exactly.
answer that we can give you. It's like, okay, exactly when we hit 500, that's when we started hiring people. Okay, 1,000, that's when we were like, okay, we have so much artwork, let's expand this into other things. Like 2,000, then we did this, like, so on and so forth. So
it's going to be different for every person.
Yeah, you've kind of got to know yourself as well. And the whole time thing comes back to it. If you only have an hour a day that you want to spend on merch, maybe just taking every day and doing a different platform and just making sure that you're eventually going to max out your account on merch. Once that's maxed out, maybe then it's time to look at another print on demand platform. So make sure, you're still uploading and being consistent with your business. There's a lot of things that play into the right way, or an answer that we can give to that.
Each platform is a little different. They're not so different that if you have something working on one, you can't try it on the other. I guess it's a bigger question of what is it that you ultimately want out of each platform? Do you want to make X amount of money, period? Then maybe focusing in on a certain platform is better. If you want a larger reach because you're starting to build a brand, you want like brand recognition across multiple platforms, then you can start going in that. It's also like you have to really think about what your goal is before I would suggest another print on demand platform. If you feel like you understand keywords, you feel like you understand customers, you're having consistent sales on merch, and you feel like, okay, I got this process down. If I only have an hour a day, I know I can spend that time very efficiently with merch and get everything I need done in 30 minutes. Now I would start bringing in other platforms. But if you only have an hour a day and you feel like you're struggling just to take care of your merch business, or the merch platform, then I would still focus on that until you feel like, okay, I have X amount of time and this amount of time I can set aside for merch and then be learning another platform with that leftover time.
Ooh, that'd be interesting, a flow chart of how things work. Again, like it's hard to be like, okay, this is the exact route you should be following, but maybe it'd be interesting to show that. There are, I don't know, there's a lot that goes into it. And, you know,
I guess we have something for merch. Like we kind of have a process for merch and then like a suggestion of when you should start hiring VAs. But again, if you don't want to be hiring VAs and managing VAs and you feel like that's more cumbersome, then you kind of have to know like what type of business do you want. We wanted a business where we could hand off a lot of the day-to-day grind because we quickly found like we're not going to be able to do it. The amount of art that's required, even just for one merch account, Nathaniel can't do it in one day. Now I could probably do the research for it because I've figured out how to multiply that out so quick. But you just have to figure out what type of business you want to run and then start building from there. So I guess we would have like a team before you go on. If you want to build a business from merch, I would at least start and build and learn a team underneath the merch umbrella,
or at least a process that's streamlined, like Steven said, that is streamlined enough where you're getting things done in a very small amount of time. You're like, okay, now instead of, you know, if it's taking an hour to do things on merch, instead of taking 2 hours to do 2 print on demands, I would try to cut your time in half and then try to learn a new platform. So there's a lot of interesting things, and like each platform also has its like, you know, quirks and things that it can do better than other people.
I think that's why we both paused and like tried to think about an answer.
There's so many different places you can go with it. And we always say like merch is not the end all be all. If you're trying to do partnerships, you know, merch isn't for every partnership. There are a lot of other print on demand websites that will offer you much more than merch can. So if you're doing spirit gear or something like that, they want backpacks. Like there's, you know, Redbubble, a bunch of other sites that you can go to. If you're looking for organic search and you don't want to do any promotion, like obviously Amazon's kind of the king of that. But I have stuff that listed on Redbubble before I ever had a merch account that still sells like once or twice every month. You know, I probably only have, I don't know, 20 shirts over there. That was like when I was first learning, so it was probably like 20 days worth of work. But, you know, that stuff still sells, and, you know, it's not crazy money, but there is organic search over there if that's something you're interested in. So,
yeah, we have partnerships that are not using our merch account. I would say most of our successful partnerships are not on merch. So, again, if that's the business model you want to go after, which I think is Nathaniel's business model, and I think that's why I'm excited for him to start teaching next year, because the partnership is really what I think he's thriving on now, is like understanding partnerships, how to get those deals done. Hopefully my creative side has trickled into what he's been doing and be able to think about the deal bigger instead of going, this is the only way I have to do the deal. Being able to go, okay, if I can't get it done this way, here are other options. And maybe instead of going in there and saying this is the deal, just listen, ask questions, gain information, and then create a deal around the actual person that you're working with.
Definitely being more patient. I no longer send like 3-page emails like, this is exactly what you're going to do, this is what I'm going to do, this is why it's going to work. It's no more of that, and it's been working out a lot better. So all good ideas, good things to think about. Definitely, I think this is the right time to think about that as well, like as you're setting up your goals for next year. You know, think about what you want out of your print on demand business. And, you know, you can feel free to post those ideas in the group as well. Like, hey, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, I only want to focus on organic search, and this is really like what I want to maximize. If you're doing that, you're going to need to learn how to scale very quickly. And we think hiring other people is the best way to scale because you still get your time back. But, you know, maybe that's not affordable or whatever. Like there's a lot of very specific advice we could give if we like just knew
a little bit more
about the situation. So all good things to think about. I think everybody can learn a little from that, or at least, you know, start asking yourself those questions. What am I spending my time on? And what do I want my time to like equal to? We just did go live in another group talking about, you know, the time that you put in. Like we're at a point now where things are, you know, moving in the right direction. There was a lot of years before this where it's just like, what are we doing? Are we even working together? Like, why am I just packing boxes for you? What is this leading up to? Taking the time to like think about all those things and think them through, and how we can be, you know, working together more efficiently and all those things. So definitely, you know, feel free to think out loud in the group. We actually like seeing that stuff.
Marsha's asking, maybe she's not being clear about partnerships. and she wants to know if we're talking about taking someone else's account over. That's not what we're talking about at all.
No. Not anymore.
Yeah, we did that for a while. Even when we were doing it, we're suggesting that other people don't do it because the amount of work and just the tiering process makes everything extremely difficult to like scale that type of business. But that's not what we're talking about. When we're talking about partnerships, we're talking about partnering with people that either have an audience or have an idea or that are graphic designers. I was gonna say auditors, but that's not the right word.
No, it's not the
Graphic
right word.
designers.
Yeah.
Those type of partnerships, not taking over people's merchant account. We don't think. I mean, unless you understand something that we don't.
I wouldn't say there's any amount of money that you should be taking over someone's merch account for. If it's going to help you in another way, then that is something to consider, but it's definitely not worth the money that you'll be getting out of those deals. And that's from my experience doing it.
And I
have
think
great relationships with people who I did it with.
That's what I was going to say. What we got
Yeah.
out of it truly was the relationships. And we learned very quickly. We took on a whole bunch of accounts and then very quickly found out like, oh, even though we're maximizing all this stuff and we're growing our business like crazy, every time everybody tiers up, we just doubled our workload. And it's not possible to continue to do that. So we quickly gave back a lot of accounts. But then we were like, okay, how can we continue to take over some people's accounts and get more than just the pay out of it, and then building relationships stronger with those people that we were taking over their accounts. So we used it tactfully to build relationships, but that's not, I wouldn't suggest even that. Like there's other ways that you can work with people.
No, we'll be talking about how I partnered with schools, how I'm partnering with churches, nonprofits, like a whole bunch of people. I'm excited about that part of it. But there's a million print-on-demand websites out there now. They can all do very unique things, or sometimes they can do pretty unique things. So just knowing exactly what you're trying to do and then realizing that there's probably a print-on-demand like business that will fit that, or platform that will fit that type of business. So yeah, good topic. Good question, Marsha. The other question that I saw was from Raneen. She had a question, or a problem rather, with pop sockets that our community helped answer for her. So that was awesome. Before I even got a chance to look at the post, I think there was like 5 or 8 people commenting on it, like kind of giving her suggestions for things she could do. They figured it out, which was awesome. She was listing pop sockets and putting pop socket in the name, which is a no-no because Amazon actually adds like a little string, they call it, at the end of your listing. If you guys are interested in that, I'm going to post I'll just post it. I think it says what it is. The resource page from Merch themselves, where they go over kind of everything pop socket. They talk a little about like, what is a pop socket? How's the artwork on the pop socket? A lot of good things reading through there. Definitely it's something I did when they first came out, and it's definitely worth another read even now going back through that. Yeah, but just know if you're going to be listing pop sockets, they put the word pop socket in there. I think there's a very specific way that you can add it, but it's kind of redundant at that point, so it's not even really worth it. So that is just all stuff to be aware of. And I know we talked about pop sockets like right after the whole little debacle happened.
Right before.
Was it before?
Yeah, because we said we were going to do a strategy.
Yeah,
and then it got pulled, and we were like, okay.
Yeah, so pop sockets is still not something we're going super hard on. I had a friend ask me how they can use photography on t-shirts, and I didn't have any great answer for them. It's kind of labor intensive to like make an image look
good or decent,
to make it look graphically pleasing on a t-shirt, to use it. Now, if it's like, that's a whole discussion for another time. But my idea was just to use their pictures on pop sockets. And so that was something, I don't hear a ton of people saying that. And even taking pictures of things, there's like, different trademark laws for all of that. So definitely go read up on what you're taking pictures of before you try to sell it commercially. But it's just another outlet for somebody who might be doing photography. Like that's another outlet for them. Maybe listing it on pop sockets, doing the keywords and all that is not something we've done super deep in, but we have seen success with that. And so that was kind of cool. And I just thought I'd suggest that while we had another pop socket question, maybe using, your photos on pop sockets, that might be something that helps you out if you're just already taking pictures, or if you even enjoy taking pictures. There's a few cool ones that I've seen my friends do, and I was just like, oh, that's pretty unique, and they're selling. So it's something cool, and just another way that you can use the print-on-demand world to make some money, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, if anybody wants to take back up that discussion about pop sockets and say what's working for you or what's not working for you, I'll try to follow it and maybe give some advice, but it's not something that we're going to even take time on now and like have a pop socket strategy for, just because it's not a big enough profit for us to be like, oh, let's now add that to our business. We have a lot of other, we think, more interesting, better, more scalable parts of the business that we want to talk about. And pop sockets we don't see as a scalable piece. So it's just like hard for us to fit into either our teaching and or our business. So we're gonna
and maybe that's the point when you're like thinking about posting things on pop sockets. Like maybe that's the point where you're just like, oh, what other products are out there, what other sites are out there. Maybe that's the time that you want to move into another print on demand site as well. So all good things to think about. The shout out this week, I just want to say thank you to everyone in the boot camp. I am
showing up early.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of people showing up early. I was like, okay.
So thankful for this community. I think we say it a lot, but I don't know if we say it enough of how much we love this community, how positive it is, how much support we have in here. We did teach this morning, so if you want to get inside of the boot camp, this morning's teaching was really good. But it's not too late to catch the recording and then join us tomorrow morning. We're starting those at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We weren't sure about teaching that early in the morning. We've never done anything that early.
We polled people. That's what they said. That's what they wanted. So
yeah,
like, okay,
we were like maybe noon, so everybody could see it. They're like, no, earlier than that. We're like, okay. So that was really cool. Like just basically, getting our morning routine stuff done and then going right into teaching. Had a really great class. A lot of
engagement.
Yeah, engagement. Thank you. And so that was cool. But just thank you guys so much to this community for supporting us in that idea. Again, we know that we should be, promoting things slightly longer. I think we're getting better at how we're promoting them and trying to be more clear about exactly what's going on and like showing you guys.
It's a weird balance for us though, because we don't like to talk about things that are not flushed out really. And then it almost feels like by the time we flush them out, like it's other things come up and then we have to go, let's do this now. So Pre-Flight 2.0 is coming back. I guess we'll say that now, and we'll be talking about that a little bit more.
Sometime next year, not right now.
Yeah, that's the thing that we hate to do is like talk about it and then not have something for you guys to actually go and take action on. So that's the balance that we're trying to have. So we want to make you aware of things that are coming up, and then I guess giving you enough heads up so it's not like, hey, tomorrow, that thing that we talked about never is happening. So if you want to sign up, do that. So that's kind of why we were going to close the signups for that on Sunday, but we're going to actually leave the boot camp signups open until Tuesday. So Tuesday night is the last time you can sign up for that. Like Nathaniel said, we did do a teaching today. We'll be doing a teaching tomorrow night or tomorrow morning. And the last time to sign up is tomorrow night. And that's the boot camp. That link should be in here now.
Yeah, I believe it's already in here.
So if you're interested, definitely join us over there. And that's to help you systemize, build a business. We're showing you different strategies, and we're going to try to, as best as we can, help you with whatever you feel you're good at and whatever your goals are, and at least give you actionable steps to start figuring out a process that works for you.
Yeah, I think being consistent is the biggest thing that we're focused on over there. It's just making sure that you're getting this stuff done. We like to say no excuses in our group, so we want to make sure there's no excuses. And if you feel like, oh man, I kind of missed out on that already, don't feel bad. There's a bunch of people who signed up today, even after the teaching this morning, and they're like, yeah, this is great. Like, glad that I decided to jump in today. So it's definitely not too late. Feel free to jump in there. We're excited about that. It's ends on Friday officially, but we'll be doing a Q&A or Ask Me Anything type thing on Saturday. So there's still plenty of time. We haven't gotten too far ahead of you. So feel free.
And the homework today was light. It was very light.
Someone got it done the second that I made the post. I was like, your homework for tonight. They're like, done. I was like, what? I'm not even sure if I hit post on this thing yet. So that's awesome. So there will be homework every night. I know that Steven said it's kind of a dirty word in here, but it's not too hard. It's just to make sure that, we're getting things done, taking action, and what was the other thing we talked about? Oh, systemizing. Those are like the two things we tried to hammer home today. So you're not too far behind on any of that.
Yeah, see some more questions about KDP. I'm not quite sure how to answer this. I am doing things with other people, and we've been going back and forth on what that truly means. It seems like there's a huge need for KDP. We will start talking about it in this group, and it's going to be, I don't think we have a time for it. Pretty early in the year, we'll start talking about KDP because that is something else that we do in our business, and we are using a lot of the same initial research that we're pulling from merch and doing creative things with it on KDP. And that's, I think, why I'm more excited about just teaching them print-on-demand business. It's a very large business. There's a lot of different tactics and strategies, and I want to start being able to test those and then talk about them. And I kind of feel like I'm farther ahead in the testing, and I would like to be talking about it, but we didn't let anybody know. It's not like we can say, hey, it was a merch group, and all of a sudden we're going to be talking about all this other stuff. So now, moving into next year, I think we're going to be repositioning ourselves to talk about just the print-on-demand business because it's very large. And product lines. I think that's going to be my big, like,
that's kind of
tagline for next year.
I'm not sure who said that, but as soon as we heard that, like, product lines, we're like, oh yeah, for sure, we want to be doing more product.
I said that because I said, oh, we can show them how to build brands, and they were like, are you really showing them how to build brands? I was like, no, not really. And she was like, what are you showing them? I was like, how to build product lines, because that's really what we're doing.
Yeah. So all those print-on-demand websites that we mentioned before, and even more. But yeah, Steven knows a good amount about KDP, and we've done some pretty cool stuff using, again, like, being efficient. We want to make sure all the artwork that we're viewing as assets is working for us as many places as possible. So learning how to use those on KDP was a very cool aha moment, and especially, that same, like, addiction when you have your first shirt sale. Yeah, you're like, oh my gosh, that worked. You're just like, yeah, so let's keep doing
let's do that a lot more.
Right. So that's really cool. Next year we've got a lot of cool stuff in mind. Please keep giving us feedback on how you think things are going. And if we could be doing things better, if you think you can help us in any way, please reach out. We're always looking for help.
Like Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. So super excited about that. Just to talk about what else is coming up this week, we do have the boot camp going on all week. So if you want to join us, you'll see our faces every morning. But if you want to join us in the middle of this week on Wednesday, we're going to be doing just a kind of, I don't know if life update or just like a midweek live call. Kind of like we did a few weeks ago, and then they turned back into like business-minded stuff. Like, let's get back away from that, go out of the house a little bit, get away from our awesome empty warehouse, and just talk about, stuff that's going on in our lives and, other stuff we've got.
Yeah, and that'll only be in the Facebook group. So the Wingman merch crew will see the live.
Yeah.
You got to remember we're doing this to 2.
Yeah, I did forget there at the end. So thank you for clarifying. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I think that's all we've got for you this week. So, again, the boot camp is going on. That link is in this group if you guys are all interested in joining that. We'd love to have you over there, and then we look forward to talking to you guys.
I'm so glad we're doing these at 6, because I think at 8 I'd be like so fried now.
Yeah, you're a little bit fresher. We're going into dinner instead of coming out. Like, after dinner, I just want to
sleep. Yeah, it's just like, what are we talking about?
All right, guys, thanks so much, and we'll catch you on Wednesday.